forewarning you guys that I got ice cream on the way here, and Madison's house is like literally 80,000 degrees. I don't even know how she lives in this heat.
I feel so bad.
I'm going to possibly be taking bites of ice cream so that it doesn't melt before I am ready to eat it. Okay, so there were a couple things like just right from the get-go before we even jump into the charting situation that I wanted to touch on from Pam's Zoom tonight. So drop a 1 in the comments if you were, or in the chat, if you guys were on that call tonight, just so that I can get an idea. Mads holding her finger up with it. Yay, okay. Let me take my bracelets off so I'm not like clinking this whole time. So the very first thing that she said that shook me was I've been hearing so much recently, you guys, in all the books that I'm listening to, the podcasts, and it really kind of stood out to me when Pam said it because I've heard it so many times, but I don't know what it was. Just like, people always say, one person's going to say the exact same thing that 10 other people have told you, and it's just going to click one day, right? So this was one of those moments for me where she said, let me backtrack. I heard it the very first time on Manifestation Babe, and she was talking about travel. And all I've been hearing about recently is travel and return on investments and trusting the process. And she said every time that she travels for work, she manifests, and she knows now because she's done it so many times, that when she goes on trips for business or she invests something in her company, she will get that return 5 times. And it has happened for her every single time. So when I think about, and it's been something that this team has really been talking about, like, is conference worth it? Is going worth it? Not only is it, but I'm already telling myself that the income that I'm going to walk into conference with is going to be 5 times that when we leave. This entire team, not just me, not just my paycheck, all of us who walk into conference are going to walk out with 5 times more of an income. But on Pam's Zoom tonight, she wasn't talking about 5 times. She wasn't talking about 10 times. She was talking about investments both in her mind and physical financial investments that she makes, and she knows she gets 100 times reward back. And when she said that, it was just yet again another reminder of how small we are playing the game. I'm thinking 5 times. 5 times, that'd be great. No, 100 times return on your investment when you really, truly believe it. And I was just like, wow, that is such a mindset. Our income is such a mindset. Our relationship with money, such a mindset. Your relationship with your promotion, your rank, is a mindset. And so when, like, just all of this combined, for whatever reason, when she said that line, I was just like, wow, we are playing way too small. And also the fact that we're even considering a couple $100 investment to go to conference being worth it is just insane. Like, of course it's worth it. So the other thing that she said was, they asked a question about, okay, pause. I set this on Mad's blanket, and it like freeze burned her blanket, and it like stuck to it because the outside of
it is that.
Because
that's Layla's blanket too, you asshole.
Hey,
Sorry
this
for the
is recorded.
recording.
Now I have to mark it as not for kids. Thanks.
It's not for kids.
Don't screw with my algorithm. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So, what was I saying? Oh, she was talking about, she got asked a question about, how do you, because she felt like we've been preaching so much of a vision for loyal customers, for steps to success, for Ruby, and this was an ambassador asking this question. So how do we get our team to catch the bigger vision, not diamonds, not double, like I'm talking black diamond. And Pam said it to me at Green Carpet, and I think that this is why it stood out to me, because literally, like, when she's speaking to me, and now this is the second time I've heard it, that was the universe telling me, like, okay, this is important. And she said, you have to meet them where their mindset is. You're not lowering yourself to their standards. Don't think of it like that. Like, it's not like you're just shifting your mindset from when you start talking about $100,000 paychecks, $50,000 a month paychecks, $10,000 a month paychecks. People are automatically going to shut you out and not listen, because that's so crazy and so not even close to where they're at mentally. And most of the time, people don't join this business for an extra $10,000. We join because we need an extra couple $100 a month to pay our bills. We joined because we can't put gas in the car, food on the table, pay for health insurance, whatever your reason for joining was. Even if you did join for $1,000, that's not 10 grand. So stop talking about the triple and the Prez paychecks and start talking about what you joined for, right? Like, why did you start this business? What is this business doing for you now? And it's not like it's bad to say this business is paying for my mortgage this month or talk about those things. It's just you can't immediately jump into the $10,000. And so it was interesting for me, because when I talked to Pam originally about it the first time, she said it a little bit differently, but it was the same thing in the sense that she said, I asked a question kind of similar about getting my team excited or whatever. And she was like, it's their journey. This is their process. And you're trying to push people to go double diamond before they're ready for double diamond. They're not even there yet. They could barely handle Ruby if it was promoted for them, right? So we just have to meet people where they're at and help them grow with us, versus coming in like with your $20,000 clause and being like, don't you want this? You know what I mean? Like, it was just such a wake-up call for me. I was like, wow, I've been trying to preach this bigger vision because that's where I'm headed, but not all of us are there yet. And that's not why all of us joined. So I thought that that was just really key that I wanted to point out. The other thing that she pointed out that, again, I've heard over and over and over and over again, and I've been saying it for I can't even tell you how long. So the first thing that I'm doing after I get off the Zoom, it's literally on my to-do list, is downloading TikTok. Pam literally talked about TikTok for like 5 minutes on this Zoom tonight. Like, she was so adamant about TikTok. Gary Vee is literally known as being the TikTok guy. Like, there is so, it's so untouched right now, and it's so new in this space that it's creating a lot of attention. So you could literally go from 10 views today to 16,000 views tomorrow, and now all those people are going to start following you on Facebook and Instagram. Like, think about how many potentials just because you made a stupid little 10-minute video, right? Even if it's just you and your baby, like, dancing, whatever it is. So that's something that I'm going to immediately start doing. I'm done talking about it. We just need to do it. The other thing that she said, you guys, that, wow. Oh my God, I need to stop putting it.
Jeez Louise. Layla's going to come back and her blanket's not going to be
Oh
there.
my gosh. Sorry, hang on. Let me pause the recording. Oh. Okay, so the next thing that she touched on, that, and I kind of touched on it. Oh, you can get a glass of wine. Pretty please.
Okay, but I don't know how many tall glasses, so you have to deal with your leg and a metal
I'll deal
glass.
with it. That's fine.
All
Sorry,
right.
I'm really picky about like what glass my wine is poured in, and Mads knows it, so that's totally fine. It's okay. Okay, back to the point. So I touched on this, I think like a Zoom or two ago, but it was just, again, another reminder. Like, this whole Zoom with Pam tonight was just reminder after reminder after reminder of things that I've already heard that was like, okay, do it. So as you know, during conference, or maybe you don't know this, they literally spend days before the event going around every single chair in that arena, and they put their hands on that chair and they pray over every single seat. And that is so important to me because, number one, what other company does that? And number two, when Pam said it tonight, she goes, well, let me backtrack. She referred it to, there was some, I don't know, I'm going to butcher it, 2 countries that were fighting, arguing, whatever. And they did a social experiment where they had unknowingly each city or each country or whatever pray about the other one, pray for them. And crime rates went down, health like rose, everybody was, you know, like diseases were going down, all this different kind of stuff. And they had no clue. And she goes, it just goes to show, like, what are you, of course, if you're speaking negativity, you guys, I'm sure, have even seen experiments where people will put a plant in a room and 2 plants or whatever, and you sing to one, you talk to one, and the other one you scream hatred over and you talk to, it will literally die. Like, that's, try it. Seriously, like, do a social experiment with it. And so when you pray over your team and your chart, she goes, I wonder what would happen. The same thing would happen. Your team would start promoting, they would start enrolling because you're focusing on the lack. You're not praying over them every single day. You're not busting your charts out, literally looking at every name and like, okay, when this person hits the 400s club, she gets to put gas in her car. And I know that she's been talking about buying her daughter X, Y, and Z. And that's what that's going to mean for her. So I'm going to pray on that for a minute. And then this person, blah, 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 blah. And this person, whatever. Spend 20 minutes a morning, a night, whatever, praying over your team, praying over your charts. Write your volume down today and write it down again the end of this month and pray over your chart and over your team every single day. And I will bet that your numbers skyrocket. I will bet that the energy of your team doubles. I will bet that your excitement has never been greater. Pam talked about it so much tonight about the excitement and the joy and the fun that we have to have in this business. And when you feel like you're running on a hamster wheel, or you feel tired, or you feel like giving up, or you feel like you're doing all the work and you're not getting the enrollments, it's because you're not making this fun anymore. You're making this a chore. You're doing this because you have to, and you're not motivated. You're uninspired. You've lost your why. It's time to refocus. It's time to make sure that when you walk into conference, that's what they were talking about tonight, is just preparation mindset-wise for conference. You have to be so ready. You have to let go of all of those self-limiting beliefs. You have to be preaching over your team, preaching over your chart, and just having so much fun. Like, make this, like, don't you remember? Drop a 1 in the comment or in the chat. If you remember, I remember when I first started this business, you guys, and my phone was like blowing up and I had like 16 notifications on Messenger. Don't you remember what that first felt like? Because you had never used this for like an income before. You're like, oh my God, people are actually responding to me. People actually want this. I get excited over such little things. This morning, I got a text from a customer who is a girl, a friend of mine who I've known for years. We went to college together. And P.S. I didn't graduate. I'm a college dropout. That's okay. Anyways, we were together and I've messaged her about these products. She was completely uninterested, hasn't answered me for months. She hit me up 6 weeks ago or something like that for samples. I ended up sending her samples. She loved them. So she signed as a little customer about 2 weeks ago, and she's been using the coffee every day. And I got a text from her saying, and it was on my story, so I'm sure you saw it, and she was like, girl, this is the first time since I can literally remember that I got home from a 10-hour shift at work and made a full-on meal for me and my fiance, did laundry, and like didn't feel like I was gonna die. She's like, this keto coffee is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. And that for me is just like the holy grail. Like, that gets me excited all over again. And now I'm like, okay, I need to go find 10 more people who want this freaking coffee, because I know whether they admit it to themselves or not, there's a tired mom out there who literally wants to keel over at the end of the day. And if she just had our coffee, her life would be so much easier. Like, I know that every single person on this Zoom right now drinks our keto coffee. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're as obsessed as I am. Okay? Like, You have to feed that passion to other people. Anyways, this is so not meant to just be like a hype up Zoom. I was so fired up after some of the things that Pam said. And it just reminded me to pray over you guys more and to focus on how I can serve and just getting so excited. Like, I know that you guys, especially if you have not been to conference, don't know what the conference bug feels like. But if you can't see it in my crazy eyes and how fast I'm talking and literally I'm sweating, like I'm so excited for conference, it's because I've watched the boom. And if you only knew what was coming, you would work 10 times harder. You would not be sleeping. Like, if you only knew. And I'm telling you guys, if you think for 2 seconds that you want to slow down, you have to push harder on the gas. If you for 2 seconds feel like, well, maybe if they announce bonuses, like I shouldn't go diamond this month, I should go diamond next month so that when they announce them, I'll get my bonus or whatever, because not that I know what's happening, but every top leader in the company is talking about how bonuses are coming, okay? That's $10,000. $15,000. I don't know what they're going to announce. Don't quote me on it. But you guys, they never disappoint. And there have been years where not only have they doubled bonuses, but they've backdated bonuses, which means they've been talking so much about what we're doing this month. They've been talking about making sure that you have a one-time order. So every single person on this team needs to have not only their auto ship, but a one-time order running because there's going to be something. I don't know what. That could be discounted codes. That could be discounted apparel. That could be first rights to something exclusive at conference. Like, I have no idea, but it's going to be worth it. And you want to make sure that you have that order in, even if it's just for freaking HSN. Like, I don't know. They haven't said a minimum BV amount. So just don't go crazy, whatever. Or buy the skincare line if you've been dying to do it. Whatever. Point being, you have to be so cued into these little hints that they're giving us, you guys, because what happens if you promote to Emerald this month because you worked your ass off and they announce bonuses for Emerald and above, and next month you go diamond? Like, what if that was a $25,000 bonus? You guys, when I went Emerald, there was a $5,000 bonus. When I went diamond, there was a $10,000 bonus. Like, crazy stuff is about to happen. So just make sure that you're like, I don't know if you can feel my bug, but man, I've got the conference bug, and I hope that you're being bit by it because, like, it's coming. Anyways, the other thing that she said was, who do you want on your team and what do you want your team to be like? So I'm going to put that in the chat later, but that's going to be all of our homework tonight, is I want you literally to write an entire page about your ideal distributor. What does that look like for you? What does a perfect distributor look like? What does a perfect team look like for you? What do perfect enrollments look like for you? What is your ideal? And then we're going to hang that up next to our vision board this week too. So anyways, now that I'm done rambling, wow, let's get to the good stuff. So charting. I'm going to start with a Ruby chart. And some of this you guys might already know. So if you do, just like, cool. Otherwise, I hope that you have like pen and paper or something. This is being recorded, so you guys will be able to like go back and rewatch it or send it to your team or whatever if you want. But charting can be really confusing, especially after Ruby. And I don't expect any of you guys to know how to chart until you're like diamond and above. So don't ever feel bad coming to one of us for questions. Don't feel like you need to know everything. The one thing that I want to preface with is if you don't 150% know how to chart, do not move things on your own, because once they're moved, it cannot be undone. So and the other thing with that is it can only be moved in the first 72 hours. So there is no reason that the second you see that enrollment come through, you're either texting me or your leader to figure out where that should be placed, or you're moving it on your own immediately, because I know that I'm not the only person who forgets things. And it's really easy to forget to move something, and then it's too late. And to be frank, it's a wasted enrollment at that point. like GV is GV, and yes, it will go towards your group volume, but I've literally had people miss out on a promotion because they moved things on their own thinking that they know what they were doing, and they didn't, and they missed out on their promotion, and it was such a bummer. So I don't say that to be micromanaging. I don't say that because I know everything, but I have been in the business for almost 2 years. I have gotten myself to double diamond, and I've never had to ask help for charting after I went diamond. So I get it, and I can help you. So utilize my help and let me help you. Okay, now that I've prefaced with that, y'all know there are 2 ways to be commission qualified. The very first way is 150 personal bonus volume every single month. This is really risky because if you are counting on that 150, and let's say you're pushing for Ruby or even Emerald or above, and somebody returns something, let's say multiple people return something, or someone has a credit card decline and they don't reply to you and they ghost you or whatever, and you fall below that 150, you're literally not getting paid. So even if it was a $10,000 paycheck because you were a triple diamond and you were relying on that 150, you legitimately would not get a paycheck. So it's very important to just make sure that if you're going to go that route, that's okay. If you can't afford the auto ship or whatever, that's okay to make sure that you're doing that. But I just suggest to shoot for like the 200 GV mark, or personal bonus volume, excuse me. That way, if there's any sort of like funk, you have at least a little bit of wiggle room. But then again, you're like now keeping volume that could be going towards your promotion. So the other way is an 80 BV auto ship. So as long as you have an 80 BV auto ship running every month and you have like volume throughout your chart, you're going to get paid. The cool thing about that is not only is the 80 BV order a write-off, but you also get paid on that volume. It goes towards your group volume. And now you're a product of the product. So people want to use things that you are personally using. Like, would you ever buy a hair product, or let's say you went into the MAC store and you were going to buy a new lipstick and the girl was not even wearing a lick of makeup? Would you trust her opinion unless she pulled up her Instagram and had like 1 million followers and was like some makeup guru? Because I wouldn't. Like, if I'm going to a hairstylist and she has shitty hair, I'm going to be petrified to let her cut my hair. You know what I mean? So just make sure that you are showing your personal results. You're talking about, even if you don't have personal results, but you've tried something. Oh my gosh, you guys, I tried this. It was so delicious. My customers are having amazing results. I can't wait for mine to come in, or whatever. So that's kind of my little spiel. But that's going to be your first marker, is making sure that you're commission qualified every single month. That is so, 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 so important. And if you guys have any questions about that, just make sure that you ask me. Okay, let's talk about Ruby. So this is a Ruby chart. So this is going to be you. When you are commission qualified, I just put a little like check right there so that you know that you're good to go. Ruby's an average of $474 a month. And you have to have at least 2,000 group volume. So these are 3 qualified legs. So if you don't know what a qualified leg is, a qualified leg is a leg that has 400 group volume or more. Okay, that's what's going to qualify them. So that's 400, 400, 400. That's only 1,200 group volume. So even once you close all of these out, you still need 800 group volume somewhere else. So that's why charting for your next promotion is so important, because if you're enrolling distributors, even if you're not, you don't really want to have all that volume under you necessarily. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it. So let's just talk about this first. So you sign Mary Jane, you sign Alice, and you sign Destiny. Mary Jane needs 400, Alice needs 400, Destiny needs 400. So, and these are distributors. I hope that makes sense. And so you're going to help your 3 distributors when they sign up to help them reach their first goal, which is 4 loyal customers in their first 72 hours. So that's immediately going to hopefully put them over that 150 mark. So not everybody, just so you know, is going to do that on your own. if you're not fast starting your distributors that you're personally enrolling, you are literally kissing away money. You're flushing it down the toilet. So if you have a distributor that joins, you have to make sure that number one, you're fast start qualified, which means that you got your first 4 loyal customers in your first 30 days. And that, what was I just saying? I don't know why I always do this, you guys. Anyways, so hopefully she gets herself to that 150. If she doesn't, it's now your job to go find 2 loyal customers that total 150 BV and place them under them so that you can fast start them yourself. Okay? So I don't want you to focus on who's working. I just want you to fill the box. I know that sounds like weird because when you get to higher ranks, that's not really the case. But for Ruby, I went diamond without anyone on my downline working, okay? There were very little people that were enrolling. So you can do Ruby, you can do Emerald for sure on your own. Fill the boxes. So now you've enrolled 3 distributors. They're each fast start qualified. You're helping them reach the 400s club. Now you sign some more distributors. And so you want to make sure that you have this chart out so that as you're signing more distributors, you know where to place them. So this is Mary Jane, Alice, Destiny. So I'm going to build these 2 to Ruby, which means now Mary Jane needs 3 distributors and 2,000 group volume, and Alice needs 3 distributors and 2,000 group volume. So 2,000, 2,000, 1 qualified leg, which is 400. So that's 2,400. You need 5,000 for Emerald, GV. So again, once you're signing more distributors, you're going to want to break your diamond chart out. And you're going to be like, okay, Mary Jane, Alice, Destiny. I'm going to be placing them under here. Again, now Destiny is going to have, or excuse me, Mary Jane's going to have 2 people who are going Ruby. So this person's going to have 3 distributors. This person's going to have 3 distributors. This is their qualified leg. This is your qualified leg. Now she needs 3 distributors. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. So once you get that 2,000 group volume, you are now promoted to Ruby. Hopefully, the ideal case is that you've got this filled out a little bit while you were going Ruby with more distributors so that you can evenly distribute that volume so that when you're pushing for Emerald, these boxes are already being filled while you're going Ruby. Does that make sense? Because this person, all these 3 people and this person is this person's group volume. So if you've already filled these boxes while you're going Ruby, let's say you're boxed for Emerald, but you're pushing for Ruby, you're going to be wanting volume under these people because not only are you going to need it for Emerald, but this is also going to bring this person's group volume up. So you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and that's why we always say to have both charts out so that you can constantly be looking at where to place. Because obviously you want to be focusing on Ruby, but if you just need her group volume high and she's not necessarily working, you can start placing under these people. So when you look at an Emerald chart, this says qualified leg, this is a Ruby leg, and this is a Ruby leg. Those are technically called promotion boxes. So this person and this person, so Mary Jane and Alice, both need to be commission qualified. I don't need them at 400. You don't need them at 400. That's only for Ruby. They need to be at 400. For Emerald, your 2 Ruby boxes just need to be commission qualified. That can either be with 150 BV or an 80 BV auto ship. This person is a qualified leg, so they do need to be at 400. Same thing with all the rest. Everybody needs to be at 400, commission qualified, 5,000 group volume as a whole. Does that make sense? Drop a 2 if you're with me so far. And you guys, the specifics in eSuite, as far as moving it and totaling your projected volume and everything, that's really going to be mainly on a like one-on-one, just because number one, I don't want to like share my screen and disclose people's information. I want to keep people's privacy, but it's just going to be a learning process. So once you understand how the actual chart works and where you need the volume to be, then it's a little easier to kind of look at it in your eSuite. But that's just going to be something where if you need help with your projected volume specifically, just come to me and let's schedule a one-on-one. Literally text me a couple dates and times that work for you, and let's schedule one. Okay. So then for diamond, this one gets a little bit more confusing. So this one is going to be your emerald. This is your qualified leg, and this is your ruby. It can look really overwhelming, but if you break everything up into rubies, you just need one ruby here, one ruby here, one ruby here. And all you're worried about is these two qualified legs, right? So this person's commission qualified, this person's commission qualified, this person's commission qualified, this person's commission qualified, qualified legs, so it's 400. These three people are qualified legs, so they all need to be at 400. And they need to total 8,000 group volume. So it's 8,000 GV per diamond. The nice thing is when you go emerald, you can start maintaining off just volume. So as you're pushing for diamond, as long as you have 4,000 on your biggest leg and 4,000 anywhere else on your chart, so 8,000 group volume, you're automatically emerald. It doesn't matter once you've already first promoted. So you've promoted with your chart the first time. Now when you have 8,000 group volume and you're really just working on the placement for diamond, you're already maintaining emerald without even having to look at your chart necessarily because the volume's already there. So I hope that makes sense. Is there anything that I missed that you guys can think of or any questions that you have? The other thing is, so technically you on eSuite, this is going to be a way that you can look at it on your own in TreeViewer tonight. When you're technically level 0, okay? So when you go into eSuite, you're going to see level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1, level 2, level 3. So when you have someone on your top line, they should be a level 1. You can't take someone who's a level 2 from down here and pull it up here because you already have a level 1 right here that's on that leg, right? So when you open up an arrow in eSuite, that's essentially you going and opening these 3 boxes. Close the arrow back up, you're just going to see this name. Okay, so when you drop down that arrow and there's 3 distributors' names right there, they have to stay under this person when you're writing them down on your chart. Sometimes I think people get confused with that and they have like random names from different legs, like to fill the boxes, and that's not how it works. So make sure that you're looking at the correct level. Again, if you have questions about that, we can totally work on it too. What exactly do you mean by where we place after we enroll people? So are you talking about just like placement in general, like you've never moved something? Okay, so are you placing an auto ship every month, or are you being commission qualified off 150 group volume? 150? Sorry, I just want to make sure that I'm giving you a good answer. Okay, typically an auto ship, except for this month, it's 150. So make sure that you're over 150 group volume. Once you're commission qualified, you guys, and you have distributors on your downline, it does not benefit you at all to keep a loyal customer or distributor under you. As long as you have, let me backtrack, mainly loyal customers. Distributors, you want to make sure that you have 3 legs. So for your first 3 people, you're not going to move the distributors under there. You're going to enroll the distributors, whatever. Now you're boxed for Ruby. But if you're already commission qualified, you're over 150 PBV, and I'm talking projected volume, okay? So like you have volume that's going to run from the months before. So make sure you're looking out into the 25th and you're not like, oh, I only have 80 right now. But at the end of the month, you might have 400. Right? Make sure you're looking at where you're going to be. But if you're going to be over 150 by the end of the month and you sign a loyal customer today, and you have distributors under you, it does not benefit you to keep the loyal customer. So you have to go into eSuite and move the loyal customer from you to this distributor. And that's how you start filling these boxes, whether those people are working or not. So all 3 of these people couldn't be working, and that doesn't matter. As long as you have 3 distributors under you and their boxes are active on eSuite, you can just sign customers, sign customers, sign customers, sign customers, and literally just fill all these boxes on your own. And then you can start charting or whatever. And there's another video, or I can walk you through exactly how to do that when you're at that point. So if you are over the 150, that's why I just say if you're commission qualified, every single time you have an enrollment, like every single time you have a loyal customer or a distributor sign up with you, text me, oh my gosh, I just had this sign, or your upline, whatever, and just be like, oh my gosh, I just had this just sign. I'm so freaking excited. Where do I place it? And that's not like we're never going to be annoyed by that. We're never going to be like, oh my God, she's coming to me asking where to place again. No. Like, I get nervous when people move things on their own because, like, it is so imperative to your promotion. It's disgusting. Like, that's how you promote. So I know that you guys, like, know that. I'm just, like, preaching to the choir because, like, this is a recording. And I hope that if somebody, like, needs to hear this, they're hearing how, like, serious I am. But, yeah, we can totally go over that. So is there any other questions, or does that, like, make sense? Was this helpful? Do you think this is going to be helpful for your downline? Okay. Perfect.